I'm joined by UFC lightweight contender Beneil Dariush, who takes on Mateusz Gamrot this Saturday at UFC 280. Beneil, how are you?
Feeling great, thank you.
How's the weight cut going?
Weight cut's going really good. Actually, way smoother than I expected.
Yeah. Well, sorry about the food conversation prior.
No problem. I can always talk about food, especially Mediterranean food.
What's the plan? So, what's the meal after the wins?
So, obviously the UFC gives me whatever I'm supposed to eat, but ideal meal is always a hamburger. I always tell people hamburger is like the perfect food. It's got protein, carbs, fats, a little bit of veggies. Like, that's ideal, right? But I think we're gonna look either for a Persian spot or maybe like a Mediterranean spot. I don't know. We'll see. Like Lebanese spot. We'll figure it out.
Nice. And I know in media day it seems like you changed your tune a little bit about the whole Beggar Pro. I know initially you were a bit confused, surprised that Alexander Volkanovski was dubbed, and then in media day you said you get it from a business standpoint. Is the plan for you to still come in at 155? I mean, you never know what happens, right?
Yeah. I don't know. While I'm cutting, we'll see. Like, if I get to 156 and I'm struggling, I might not. But yeah, I think I'm going to aim for 55. But we'll see.
I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, right? Remember the whole saga with Khabib and Iaquinta? Who would have thought Iaquinta was the one who was going to fight him, right?
That's right. So you're right. I should be ready. So you're right. I guess I'll take your advice. I'll come in at 55.
Yeah, if it's not too bad of a cut. I want to talk about the matchup with Gamrot. Yesterday at media day, he seemed pretty confident that if the fight hit the ground, I don't know if you saw that he'd finish you. What are your thoughts on him saying that?
I hope he's confident, because man, so am I. I plan on coming in and smashing him. Like, there's no lack of confidence. There's no fear of this guy. There's just excitement. So I hope he's as confident as possible. I'm not trying to fight somebody who's lacking in confidence.
What did you make of his fight with Arman? Did you think he won the fight?
So it's like this. It all depends on the third round. It depends how do you look at it. Do you look at it from a standpoint of control is more important, or do you look at it from a standpoint of damage is more important? Because damage-wise, I think Arman did more damage, but control-wise, he had more control time with the grappling. And the other thing is, he finished stronger. So you could see why the judges could lean that way. But in terms of damage, I think Arman did more damage in the third round. But either way, like, I wouldn't have been upset whoever won that fight. It was a great fight. Like, they should both be very proud.
And speaking of these great fights, because we're seeing a lot of lightweights, and I know for you, because you were thinking of Dustin Poirier, you're talking title shot, you get Gamrot, very good fighter, but he's ranked below you. We're seeing a lot of these fights. Arman now matched up with Damir Ismagulov. Damir Ismagulov's matched up with Guram. Do you think there's a bit of a logjam in the top of the division?
I don't know why the UFC matches up. Like, these guys are the future. Like, let's be honest. Like, Damir, Arman, Gamrot, Fiziev, these guys are the future. Like, why are we making them like eliminate each other? Like, have them fight some of these other guys, and like, there's so many other guys that are available, and then like build these guys up. Let's man, I want to fight these guys, you know? Like, I don't want to be fighting guys that have been in the top 5 and have fought only in the top 5 each other for the last 10 years. Like, I want to fight everybody. And so I'm not going to get an opportunity if this keeps up. So, yeah, I don't understand the matchmaking, but I am excited for that fight.
You're talking about Arman and Damir?
Yeah, that's a great fight.
How do you see that one playing out?
I think Arman takes it, just because I think Damir will focus on a defensive wrestling, and Arman will have both striking and takedown. So I think he's got more weapons, and having more weapons sometimes is enough. But you never know. Damir is so good too. So it's a really hard fight. But respect to Arman. Look, it goes from Gamrot to Ismagulov. Like, what a guy.
Yeah, he seems quite frustrated as well about that matchmaking. You know, I think Fiziev is currently trying to angle for Justin Gaethje. I mean, Gaethje is obviously healing from nose surgery, so we don't know what's happening with that. But we are seeing Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier matched up. What do you think of that matchup, and how do you see it playing out?
I think Dustin Poirier, and the only reason I think that is because Michael Chandler is too focused on being exciting. I think if he was willing to kind of fight safer and smarter. And I'm not one to give, I make the same mistake. Like, I think if he was willing to kind of be more disciplined in his approach, I think he could, Chandler could pull it off. But I just from what I've seen, I have to judge based on his last couple of fights, his desire to be exciting. I think more than likely, I think Dustin Poirier takes it, and he takes his time and just wears him out.
Well, that being said, you talk about obviously you had that amazing fight with Drakkar Klose. We've also seen more composed versions of you against Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
So what are the conversations like with your coaches when you look back at a fight like Drakkar Klose and then in comparison to Tony Ferguson?
Every single fight, they want me to be disciplined, composed, and people didn't like the Tony Ferguson fight, but my coach loved it. He's like, it was great. You didn't get hit. You hit him, and you did what you wanted to do, and ultimately you won. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It was good, but deep down, I enjoy what I had with Diego Ferreira. I enjoy what I had with Drakkar. I had Scott Holtzman. Even what's his name, Drew Dober, cracked me a few times. It was a hard fight. I had to dig deep, but I do enjoy digging deep. So it's one of those things where I get stuck. I want to do what my coaches say because I love them and I know they want the best for me. But at the same time, I only have 15 minutes of freedom. It's only 15 minutes, so I want to enjoy those 15 minutes of freedom.
Extra 50 G's don't hurt either, right?
That too. I mean, man does not live on bread alone. Money is never like what I think about when I fight, definitely the freedom.
And speaking of that, with Gamrot, what are you kind of expecting? You're both high-level grappling, so it could be a lot of fun scrambles on the ground, but what do you make of his striking as well?
His striking is not bad. He's fundamentally solid in his striking. I think what he does with his striking, though, is set up the takedown. Like, his whole focus with his striking is feints. He does land shots, don't get me wrong, but even those shots are ultimately to set up the takedown. So what I make of his stand-up is it's a step to his takedowns.
I wanted to also get your thoughts on Tony Ferguson, obviously on a current losing skid. He's had a lot of fighters or analysts that are calling for him to retire. You fought him before. I wanted to get your thoughts on his current state. He's currently fighting at 170, but just his future.
I don't know, because it's not like he's fighting easy guys, He does fight really tough guys, and he didn't look terrible against Nate. He was landing a lot of good leg kicks. I don't know. I know he has new coaches, but that takes time. It takes time to get used to your coaches, to develop. The only thing is, I think he went to Jackson Winklejohn, but then he comes back home in California, I would assume, right? You gotta, in this game, you have to look at it like this. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. There's no you're staying in the middle, like where you're either getting better or you're getting worse. And if you're not in the gym with guys who are competing while you're not competing, like if you're not in there constantly in the fire, like if you're not in the fire, guess what? You're gonna lose. You're not gonna get better. You're gonna get worse. So that's the danger of having your camp a little bit away from you. You unless you have a very good system, it's really hard. And so I think it's better for him to stay in the fire, and I think that would help him be more successful. But as far as retiring, only he could decide. It's not really our call.
Absolutely. And one last one. I appreciate your time. What's the plan here? You beat Gamrot. Are you gonna kind of put your foot down and be like, you know what? I'm on a really nice winning streak. I've beaten a lot of top guys. Or would you be open to the Armans and those kind of rising contenders in the division?
Here's what I will say, because I don't know what I'm going to do after the fight. I haven't thought that far ahead. But here's what I will say. I'm not a beggar. I've done everything I needed to do. And if I win this fight, Lord willing I do, I got nothing left to prove. So if they want to give me the title shot, great. They don't want to give it to me, great. I know who I am, and I know what I want. And I know what I'm going to do. So, and that's fighting. That's what I want to do. So if it's not the title, we'll find somebody else.
All right, Beneil, great stuff. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Best of luck.